are going to begin with the president's son, Hunter Biden, charged with new tax crimes in California. The special counsel accused him of spending millions of dollars on an extravagant lifestyle rather than paying his tax bill. These new charges include 3 felony counts and 6 misdemeanors. The indictment does not mention his father, President Joe Biden. But this all comes as House Republicans ramp up their impeachment inquiry into the president amid the 2024 election. Naomi Ruchim joins us now with more. Naomi, good morning.
Anne-Marie, good morning. The indictment against Hunter Biden alleges that instead of paying taxes, he spent that income on a litany of personal items, ranging from a Lamborghini rental to luxury hotels and escort services. Many of these purchases, the government says, were classified by Hunter Biden as business expenses. More legal troubles for Hunter Biden. A 56-page indictment from a California grand jury lays out 9 new federal charges, including failure to pay taxes, filing false tax documents, failure to file taxes, and tax evasion. The indictment indicates Biden owed at least $1.4 million between 2016 and 2019.
There also appears that there will be evidence that Hunter Biden engaged in, to use their words, an extravagant lifestyle. There will be evidence presented that he spent a lot of money on clothes, on education, on cars, on housing.
In September, a Delaware grand jury indicted him on federal firearm charges, accusing him of making a false and fictitious statement about his drug use on a federal gun form and to a firearms dealer. The third count alleges he did knowingly possess a firearm while on drugs. He pleaded not guilty to those charges. The younger Biden has openly admitted his past struggle with addiction.
I went one time for 13 days without sleeping and smoking crack and drinking vodka exclusively.
Late Thursday, Biden's attorney issued a statement saying, in part, based on the facts and the law, if Hunter's last name was anything other than Biden, the charges in Delaware and now California would not have been brought. If convicted, Biden could face up to 17 years in prison. The White House declined to comment on Thursday's indictment. It comes as congressional Republicans pursue an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, claiming he was engaged in an influence peddling scheme with his son. The House is expected to vote next week on formally authorizing the probe. Anne-Marie?
All right, Naomi Ruchim, thank you so much, Naomi. So Nancy Cordes is joining us now with reaction from the White House. So Nancy, the president has repeatedly denied any sort of interaction when it comes to his son's business partners, and also when asked about his son, it's no comment. The White House and the president does not want to discuss Hunter Biden. That being said, we're in the middle of campaign season. He's facing an impeachment inquiry, the president is, and now we have another court case, another series of charges. This is going to be a challenge for the president to completely sort of compartmentalize what's happening with Hunter Biden while he's doing the business of being the president and running for re-election.
No question, and it's a challenge that he has faced for years now. In fact, even before he ran for office in 2020, he thought through this because he knew that his son's history with addiction, his son's legal troubles would be an issue for him, and that has proven to be true. The White House has said no comment to these latest charges, and that is par for the course. They generally refer us to DOJ, to Hunter's attorneys, for 2 reasons. Number one, as you point out, this isn't the greatest topic for them. But number 2, because they don't want to look as if they are trying to influence the legal process in any way. But the president, on the rare occasions when we have an opportunity to ask him about his son, he generally says that he loves his son, he supports him. We obviously see them together. They were just together over the Thanksgiving holidays. The president says that he's proud of his son for pulling his life together. But clearly, this is going to keep Hunter Biden front and center throughout 2024, which is a presidential election year, and it's only going to be more grist for the mill, of course, for Republicans in Congress who have tried in vain to make this connection between Hunter Biden's troubles, his business dealings, and the president. So far, they haven't been able to make that connection, but that hasn't stopped them from trying to move forward on an impeachment inquiry.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that a little. As you point out, they've been investigating for a while now and still haven't sort of come up with some hard evidence. That being said, it hasn't stopped them. Do we think that an impeachment, or do we think that a formal impeachment inquiry could pass in the House?
Up until now, it hasn't been able to pass, or the House Speaker, first Kevin McCarthy, and now the new House Speaker, would have tried to do it. But what Mike Johnson said earlier this week is that he now believes that he does have the Republican votes. In fact, he says he believes that the Republican Party will be unanimous in the House in voting for an impeachment inquiry to be formally opened as early as next week. That is a major development because up until now, there have been at least a handful of House Republicans, moderates, who say that they just don't see the evidence and they don't believe that an impeachment inquiry is warranted. And part of the reason that they felt that way was because the White House counsel was basically handing over thousands of pages of documents, a lot of what they were looking for. But recently, there were some documents that the White House said, we don't need to hand that over, especially because this is not a formal impeachment inquiry. You don't have the authorization to ask us or demand that we hand this over. You don't have subpoena power because this isn't a formal impeachment inquiry. And that pushed some of these moderate Republicans off the fence. They say they do now support at least an inquiry. They don't necessarily support impeachment, but they at least support this investigation going forward. Whether or not the House Speaker truly has the votes to make this happen next week remains to be seen.
All right. Nancy Cordes at the White House. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.